guys, this is Lucas from Environmental Design, and this is video number 4 in the GeoPix LED Pixel Mapper Guide. So right now we're in the SmartClip editor, and this is right next to the Pixel Map editor, and for good reason. The two are tied very closely. What we covered in the last video is mostly on its own, except for two things that I mentioned at the end. Jumping back over here real quick, we have export pixel map and export mask. These two things are directly applicable to SmartClips, and we're going to come back to this very shortly. But first, I just want to give you a brief overview of how this interface works and how you add tiles, and just kind of go through all these buttons and explain what they do. So at a bare minimum, when you save the SmartClip, you can have nothing. It'll just be black, blank clip, good for like a blackout clip if you need to fade to black. You don't want to use the sliders. However, the next step up from this would be, say, just a constant color. And so if you want a constant color, you're going to need to create a tile, a video tile. And we're going to need to clear the video from this tile, because by default it's playing this, number ticker thing, which is just a default. You want to clear that with the C button, and then you want to use the circle here, the color picker icon, to bring up your color picker. And then from here, you can simply pick a color on the HSV wheel. Once you do that, you can close that. And you're going to want to make this full screen. So the way you do that, of course, is to just go here and type in coordinates. And notice what I'm doing with the numbers here. It says out of 1240 and out of 680 because this window is slightly smaller. You're typing in coordinates out of that. So to make this easy to maximize it, all you have to do is specify the two corners and use these numbers as reference, so we know that this one will be 1240 and 0 for this one. So now we have pretty much a full constant red, which you can see this in the pixel map editor here, and in the visualizer you can see this too. Now if you had your LEDs connected and turned on, by turning this on, you would get this just solid color on your LEDs as well. So we can save this as a SmartClip as well, and we can change the color, then save it again. So you can create the primary colors or any variation of just straight color tiles if you're doing some kind of really simple basic lighting. Might be a good way to ramp up your visual experience, go from solids to more slow stuff to faster stuff, and just get more abstract as you go. It depends what you want to do, but constants are totally a thing you can make. So what else can you do with SmartClips? Well, the next step up from just a solid constant would be a single clip, and this is probably the thing you'll be doing most often, is just having a single clip playing, and it's just one solid clip. This is the way most software works anyways. Most softwares don't give you the option to composite things in real time like this, and so this might be the standard default for you. All you have to do is drag a clip, and just to show you, I'm just dragging a .mov from a folder in Windows Explorer to the background. And when you do that, your video loads, and of course internally it's referencing this video clip from anywhere. It can be anywhere in your hard drive. I recommend it be off your C drive, or at least somewhere consistent, because that's much more portable. But once you do that, you type in a name. You can be anything. Let's call this test, and you can hit save, and that will save your clip. So how do we go from here? What's the next stage up from this in terms of complexity? And this is where SmartClips really starts to show its true color and what you can do with it. We'll illustrate this with a couple constants. To do this, we're going to need the visualizer. You guys won't see this, it'll be on my other monitor, but I'll bring this back into view shortly. So there might be situations where you want one set of LEDs to have one animation and another one to have another set. Basically, you want to mask, and have two different things going on at once, but you want them to be on two different surfaces. So how you do this is quite simple. With SmartClips, you just basically drag your tiles while looking in your 3D viewer at the pixel map, and just kind of get it surrounding the things you want. This won't be perfect. Well, actually, let me just go here and adjust this real quick. Okay, I'm resetting the mapping to default, and I'm going to add another video tile, and I'm going to clear it, pop open the color picker, and for this one I'll just pick blue for contrast. Okay, this looks kind of wonky here, but not to fear. If you jump over here to the visualizer, you can see we're masking things quite nicely. Now, once you get your mask set up, I usually set them up with constants first, then you can drag clips into each of these smart clips. And as you jump back over here, you see your clips are masking appropriately. And so if you save this as a smart clip, now you're saving a smart clip that's referencing two different videos, and it's saving the location of each of those tiles. All of that's kind of embedded in one file, and it references everything off your hard drive, so it doesn't copy, it doesn't move anything, everything is just referenced. So no new files are created besides the text file, super small. So that's very useful. There's a lot you can do with this. So in addition to be able to grab pixels here manually and specify a very detailed pixel mask, you can also do kind of a Boolean rectangular compositing mask this way. So if you hit C and clear it, and we set this to black, as you can see here, we can say we just want animations to be on this and nothing else. This is really easy. In fact, we wouldn't even need this smart tile in that case. You just get rid of it, and you would just have this video playing there. So there's lots of different ways to mask things with smart clips and with the pixel maps, which we'll get to later. And this is very useful. This is very useful for creating different moods. So if you have, say, a bunch of strips on a couple poles on the left and right, or you have strips on a ceiling, you can have a certain clip or a set of clips that will only play on the ceiling, right? And that casts light from a different direction. It gives a different mood. And even simple animations can look totally different when they're modified and when they're casting light in different ways. And that's super interesting to me, and I think this will be helpful to a lot of other people too. One of the problems with low resolution LEDs is that you run out of ideas pretty quickly in terms of animations, because low resolution LEDs usually require low resolution visuals, and there's just only so many things you can do with ramps and circles and shapes. And so this gives you just a ton of possibilities that expand the same set of content and lets you repurpose them in new and different ways. And this is really nice. So that is how the tiles work. So you can drag a clip into the background. You can drag clips into smart clips. You can clear the background. You can, clear these, choose colors. Make sure you have brightness up if you do that. All good things, very flexible. If you have too many of these video tiles, your system will slow down. GeoPix can only handle so many because it's having to stream these videos off the hard drive in real time. This is why a solid-state drive is under the recommended hardware requirement list, because it's just demanding to be able to do this. Other software just doesn't necessarily have these capabilities. Touch Designer allows this to happen in the background, and of course the caveat is if you're going to do this, you just need that extra horsepower. Okay, so let's jump into the mapping and the masking. So I'm going to turn on the default animation again. As you can see, it's playing across all our stuff. Let's first start with let's do the pixel map first. So let's load the device layout we had from earlier. And if you see here, we're good, everything's mapping correctly. And let's say we want to swap all of the squares out with triangles. No, you know what, let's do something a little bit different. Let's jump over here to the panel editor and let's generate a few things to really show you the strength of all these tools together. So let's just do a circle, let's rotate it That's fine. C55. All right. And then let's do a quick box around this. Let's just call this 100 circle. And first thing we'll do is refresh, right click and refresh our pixel map. So now we have a circle, we have all of our other stuff too, and we can place a circle. Okay, so this is way too small. So let's delete this. Let's go back over here. Let's clear our LEDs, and we're going to clear our border too. And let's jump back over here, and let's make this 20 by 20. And then let's just add. Draw a quick box, doesn't matter too much. I think I might be too big on this shape, but we'll get it on the third try if it's not. Alright, doesn't matter too much on this. We'll export it as the same name, so we can just refresh. And so that's almost good. Let's just make it a little smaller. Clear list arc. Let's just say 15, 15. Let's just do the border over again. All right, exporting it with the same name. We'll refresh, add panel. All right, close enough. So what we can do here, so by default, the pixel map we have currently active, like the one that's living in the workspace right now, it will always exist under maps. So when you click on maps, it brings up a picker similar to the panel picker, very similar. Right now you just see one because it's showing you the default. The default dot is exactly what you're seeing in the pixel map editor. So it's being streamed, it's live, essentially. So same with the mask, and we'll come back to the mask in just a sec. So let's go ahead and let's select all our squares. There's 3 there. Let's go ahead and choose our circle, and we can do a swap, which I showed you in the last video. As you can see, it maintains the rotation and the positions, and it just replaces it 1 to 1. And the reason why it kind of fits in the same place is because I made sure that circle was roughly the same size. So let's check out the next signal chain, swap those. That looks like all of our squares. So next we have the triangles. So let's swap out the triangles with something a little bit different. Let's see here. Let's clear both of these. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. So we're using size of 15, diameter of 7.5. So then we want to, let's just do a noise. This should be interesting. We'll do 45 because the triangles have 45 pixels in them apiece, and that's fine. We'll just do that. Add those points, and we'll just do a quick box around these. All right, that's fine. And then we'll call this 45 noise. And we'll export this, and we'll refresh. This looks kind of crazy, so now what we need to do is go through and select our triangles. Well, first let's just see if it matches up size-wise. Yeah, that's fine, close enough. Okay, so grab the triangles in 1. We'll swap. Now we see that we've got some overlap going. That's okay. Being that it's noise, it's not too big of a deal. Okay, so we've completely replaced the panels in our old pixel map with the new one. We could save this as a new device layout if we wanted to. If we were going to spawn more things off of this device layout later, we could save this as device A1 or device abstract or whatever. We could name it something different, but for now we're not going to save it because we don't really need to. Okay, so let's name this circle and noise. Circle and noise. And we'll export that. So what happens when we export this? First, let's right-click refresh, and notice how we have default and circle are the exact same thing. Why is this? Because default is streaming what we have in the map editor. So to get back to what we had before, we'll just hit load, and it brings back our kind of base map. Let's call this the base map. And if we refresh this by right-clicking on it, now we have default and we have circle and noise. And so this, now you can pick either one, right? So if we have circle and noise, and let's pick a very stable animation. I don't really have any stable ones in here. This might work. Okay, so this is a simple left to right bar gradient. Let's call this blue. All right. Abstract test. Actually, let's put a space in here. Notice the differentiation between SmartClip, save as SmartClip, and save as effect. Effects are a unique thing in Performer that's triggerable by a button, and you can drag and drop, assign them. Come back to this later. In fact, I'm not even going to cover exporting this here because it's the exact same process as anything else. It's just basically only available in a different part of Perform mode. So before I save this, let me cover tags really quickly because this is a quick, simple thing, and I think it's very important. So whenever you export anything, you have to have tags. If you don't have at least one tag in here, your clip will not be accessible anywhere in the software. Because it's not tagged. So basically, you can start every SmartClip with a tag called, say, all. And you can, now these are, you can separate them by commas, spaces. It's pretty flexible how you separate them. So we'll say this all, and then we'll call it abstract because this is going to be one of our abstract mappings. So let's go and save this. And then let's do another name, and let's call it normal test. And we'll tag this normal just so you guys see how this works. Now I'm going to change one thing on normal test. I'm going to take this, put it back to default, and save that. Now this is jumping over into perform mode, so actually, no, I think I can avoid showing you that. So here we go. Here is, let's see if this does what I think it will. Yes. All right. So something I forgot I designed into this is the ability to preview your different mapping selections. Now this is an example of what abstract mapping can do. It's absolutely mind-blowing. It's just simple animation of bars going left to right, but when you're using such bizarre mapping as this, you get this pattern, and this is quite interesting. We have circles which cause our squares to do all kinds of ribbony effects, and of course the triangles are just pretty much glitter machines just going crazy. And this looks pretty fascinating. If we go back to the original, we get our simple bars, simple physical mapped bars. Well, let me shrink this down. So very interesting. And at this point, we can start to experiment quite a lot. So we can just start dragging different video clips into the background, and we can see what it looks like. And as you start to drag clips and experiment, you'll start to realize what kind of shapes, underlying animations and shapes look really great on what kinds of mapping. I mean, there's just so much you can do with this. I mean, this is yeah, this is interesting too. And you'll notice because the mapping is consistent, all the animations kind of have a similar vibe. So if you find a way to map things that gives off a certain feel or aesthetic, you can basically recycle all of your clips and just use different mapping, and you can tag those for a certain part of your set or a different kind of mood. You can tag by mood, by color. There's so many ways you could organize and sort your clips. This is just a noise, so you can see it looks kind of messy and crazy, but you can do that if you want. This one's very glitchy and very grungy. I like it. It's pretty neat. And so what do I take away from this experimentation? I'll notice, okay, this animation has lots of thin lines, lots of fast movement and angular kind of corners, and that really speaks well to making this look noisy and just kind of gritty. So see, this might be something that would be fun to save as an effect, because then you could push a button on your MIDI controller or on the touch screen in GeoPix, and you could trigger it momentarily to override whatever you have and then let go, and so it could be a very jammable effect. And of course effects we'll come back to. But yeah, so this is kind of the tip of the iceberg of the experimentation process that you have to experiment with. You have to spend time trying different mapping, trying different things. Go back to the panel editor, tweak your map, export it again, go back to the pixel map editor, save it, tweak it, move it, rotate it, something, come back to the SmartClip editor, try new clips. I mean, you're going to bounce back and forth for a while, and all the while you can have your visualizer open into the monitor and just keep this experimentation flow going. And this is where you can create a unique visual experience that nobody else has ever seen, using pretty average video clips that you could make yourself or find online for free, or maybe buy if you have a budget for that. It just depends. So very interesting. Again, if you have geometry in here, I'll go ahead and show you this real quick. I showed this in the intro overview video, but worth reiterating on. Let's grab our sample geometry. Okay, and so for this real quick, I know we're kind of branching out here and touching on a lot of different things, mostly trying to stay within the things we've already gone over. So let's make a new geo group and do that whole number again. And we'll add these to, to geo group 1, and we'll scoot these up and over here, and then our default group will just, move it over here. The reason I'm doing this is so you can see what the simulated lighting looks like. This is a very cool feature, which basically creates three-dimensional lighting in your scene that you can actually cast onto your objects. So again, if you have a 3D mock-up of a stage, this is great, because then you can take that 3D visualization and practice your set even more realistically, and you can really get a feel for what it's going to do to the venue or do to your art installation. Or if you're building an art installation, you can import a bunch of models of people and place them around the ground and see what the lighting would look like bouncing off of them. A lot of useful things that come from this. So let's show you. Let's see. And if we go back to normal mapping, this gives you a gentler, more kind of visually understandable progression. You can see the light waves as they pass through the LED point cloud. It casts light from those points. It's a voxel-based approach, so it's not perfect. It's kind of 80-20. It allows it to be real time, and it casts light from different directions. There's no shadows, but still, it's a visualization tool, not a photorealistic render. So it gives you a very good idea of what this is going to look like, and this is extremely helpful. So, anyways, let's go ahead and shut this down for now. Again, I'll come back to this tab. It'll be a pretty short video because there's not a whole lot to this tab at the moment. Maybe just navigation and all that stuff. So, anyways, so one other thing, we've gone through the maps, and that's pretty fascinating what you can do with different pixel maps. And what about masks? Well, masks are kind of the other side to that coin. Let's jump into here and export a quick mask. So just to be clear, the default is everything is selected, everything is on. So we can just come in here, start selecting stuff. It could be arbitrary, it could be more meaningful, it just depends. Like I said, you can select all the edges and outline those. That takes some time to select, so I won't do that in the video and just bore you with that, but just to get a little bit of stuff going on here. Cool. And one more selection here. Cool. And you can, come back to this mode later, and it's still going to be here. So you can invert if you want, but let's just save this as insect mask insect. I've not typed today. Okay. Export, clear. So now we have two options under mask. Auto refresh sometimes works, sometimes doesn't, so just right click to refresh if you need to. So here we have, let's go ahead and reset our mapping. So here we have a really simple animation going. This is in fact one of the built-in animations of vertical bars. And look what this is doing to the animation. Now when you have it masked to the edges, it kind of looks like ears. It really looks like a butterfly, and it gives this kind of some motion and some really interesting style to it that you didn't have before. Again, this is simple animation, but when you mask it, it totally redefines the animation. It's a circle. And so again, this gets even crazier when you start to import other video clips and loops. This one's a little too grainy. This is too small of a map for that to work. Let's do, oops, wrong tab. So let's do the bars again. And again, this is a very small pixel map. Let's go ahead and let's just move these up so we can get some higher resolution or lower resolution in there. So pretty cool, pretty cool. So yeah, and so when you start to combine these things, because you can pick any combination of map and mask, you start to get into some pretty unexplored territory when it comes to lighting design and animation work. See, this isn't an animation you could render out of After Effects. I mean, you could, maybe, but to plan this, obviously this looks like just noise, but assuming you find the right combination of mapping and masking, you can achieve things that you would have a hard time dreaming up and animating and rendering in traditional animation software. So this is where playing with animation and mapping and masking all in one gives you just so much flexibility and power, and that's really the strength of GeoPix and the Pixel Map Editor and the SmartClip Editor. They work together to give you that, and of course Perform Mode leverages that too, and I can't wait to show you how this stuff works in Perform Mode, but we'll come back to that soon. So that may be it for this tab. Nope, one more thing. So let's go ahead and put things back to default here. So we've got a couple buttons up here. Of course, you got the help text. Feel free to read that, put that into the monitor. We have this button here, which is your auxiliary video inputs. So a very popular thing for people to do is run their visuals for another piece of software they may be more familiar with, like Resolume or I don't know, whatever other software you may have, and then stream that into other software. So if you're running things on the same computer, you can do this easily with Spout. You've probably heard of Spout before. It's video sharing protocol that works, I think, on shared memory. So the way this works is you just drag these into here as if they were a video clip, but they're not a clip. They're an auxiliary input, which is a special clip. And as you'll see, everything turns red and transparent because we have nothing coming in. So real quick, let me open up another instance of Touch Designer and I'll show you just how easy this is to use. I don't think I opened up, there we go. So by default, while this is opening, Spout is going to look at the name of the clip as a Spout name. The way Spout works is it uses, let's just use this real quick, Spout out. This is Touch Designer, by the way, and this is what GeoPix is made with. Right now I'm just using it to demonstrate the Spout out, but usually you would never see this part of Touch Designer in GeoPix. Okay, so here we specify a sender name. That is the only variable you have to specify, so let's just call this SmartClip. So how do we get it to show up here? Now keep in mind this is a totally different instance, another software entirely running on a different thread. All we have to do is type in SmartClip exactly as we specified in the Spout out, and it shows up here in real time. So we can, of course, modify all these things in your source software. So what, Resolume is a good example because people have a lot of complex stuff already set up there. You don't have to recreate everything in GeoPix if you don't want to. There's a lot you should and can do in the SmartClip editor, but if you just really want to put content you already have that you're taking from Resolume and putting on a projector, you want to also put it on some LEDs so that you can make a cohesive kind of unified experience visually, this would be a great way to do it. So basically, yeah, the sender name, you type that in and you specify that as your SmartClip name, and it will automatically sync up to the Spout. Now, if you have the need to fade between lots of different Spout inputs, like say for example you have Spout inputs from several different software, or you just got a bunch of different Spout names, or you have several different smart clips and you're layering Spout on top of other things, because you can still put video tiles on top of this, and you can still drag clips on top of your Spout input and stuff like that. Spout will only work on the background, by the way. It will not work in the video tiles. At the moment, if there's an interest for that, I can add that, but that's a relatively more complex feature. So let me know. So something to note: alt Spout name up here is a field that lets you type in another name, which basically overrides this name. So let's say we have test. But we want to name this, saved it, whoops. We want to name this SmartClip, that's fine. You can put test up here, and it will always override this. So test will always be the name that Spout pulls from, as long as you're using Spout. And of course, if you clear that in the background, that field goes away, and that's no longer applicable. So that's Spout. Spout's very useful. Just a quick point in Performer. If I go ahead and click all, see the SmartClip that we just made here, it's got the Spout icon in the bottom right, just to show you that it's a Spout SmartClip and not a traditional SmartClip. So gives you a little differentiation there. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. I think that covers the SmartClip editor. Next will be the 3D visualizer. It'll be a super short video, and then on to the rest. Thanks for watching.